My straight roommate got jealous and blurted out, "Because I want you." Gay love story. Because I want you. Cole Parker said it so loudly that the refrigerator seemed to hum more quietly out of respect. I stopped in the middle of our living room with my keys still in one hand. "You what?" Cole stared at me. I stared at Cole. Somewhere outside our apartment, a car horn sounded, a dog barked, and the rest of Philadelphia continued having a perfectly normal Thursday night, while my supposedly straight roommate appeared to realize he had just detonated 6 months of carefully unexplained behavior with 4 words. "That came out wrong," he said. "Excellent. Because there are not many casual interpretations of that sentence." Mason. No, seriously, take your time. I would love to hear the version where this becomes a discussion about utilities. Cole dragged one hand through his dark hair and turned toward the kitchen. He made it 3 steps before stopping. That was unusual. Cole always had an answer. He could explain why our electric bill was higher, why my car made that weird clicking noise, and why storing coffee beans in the freezer was apparently a personal offense against civilization. But now his entire vocabulary had abandoned him. "You asked why I care," he finally said. "I did." And I answered. "You certainly did." My heart was beating far too quickly for someone standing beside a couch covered in clean laundry. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to demand an explanation. Mostly, I wanted to know why Cole looked more shocked by his confession than I was. 12 days earlier, my straight roommate still thought jealousy was a personality trait. At 7:15 on a Saturday morning, I walked into our kitchen and found Cole standing beside the coffee maker in gray sweatpants and an old college sweatshirt, preparing 2 mugs. "Morning," he said. "That depends. Is one of those mine?" He slid the blue mug across the counter. "Oat milk. 1 teaspoon of sugar." "Exactly right. I take back everything bad I have ever said about you." That should erase maybe Tuesday. Wednesday too, if we are being generous. This was our life. Cole made coffee because he woke up. First, I bought groceries because Cole somehow considered cereal an optional household resource. We argued over the thermostat, shared streaming passwords, and had maintained a Cold War over the living room remote for almost 2 years. He was also straight. That detail had been inconvenient when I first moved in and developed what I generously called a temporary crush. Temporary turned into several months. Several months turned into me developing emotional common sense and accepting reality. Cole was my roommate. My friend. End of story. I took my coffee and dropped onto the couch. My phone buzzed. Tyler Brooks. I had worked with Tyler for 8 months, but lately our conversations had started drifting beyond deadlines and design revisions. His message was simple. "Coffee later?" I smiled before I could stop myself. "Who is that?" Cole asked from the kitchen. "Tyler. Work Tyler." "How many Tylers do you think I have?" Cole appeared in the doorway holding his mug. "What does he want?" I looked up slowly. "Good morning to you too, Detective Parker. I am just asking." "Coffee. You already have coffee." I stared at the mug in my hand, then back at him. "You understand that people sometimes drink coffee together because they enjoy each other's company, right?" Cole took a sip. "Sounds inefficient." I laughed and typed yes to Tyler. When I looked up again, Cole was watching my phone. Not me. My phone. His expression changed for barely a second before he turned away. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Looking back, that was probably the first warning sign. By 11:30 that Saturday morning, I had convinced myself Cole's interest in Tyler was ordinary roommate curiosity. This required ignoring the fact that Cole had asked what Tyler did for work, how old he was, where we were meeting, and whether I planned to be home for dinner. "Are you conducting a background check?" I asked from the hallway while pulling on my jacket. Cole looked up from the kitchen counter. I asked 4 questions. 4 questions before noon is an investigation. You are dramatic. I work in design. Drama is part of the benefits package. He almost smiled. "What time are you coming back?" I stopped. 5 questions. Forget it. Probably before dinner. The answer seemed to relax him, which I noticed and immediately filed under things Mason should absolutely not analyze. I had spent enough time getting over Cole. I was not reopening that particular emotional storage unit. Tyler met me at a coffee shop about 3 miles from our apartment. He was already sitting near the window when I arrived, wearing a green jacket and smiling like he was genuinely happy to see me. That should not have felt unusual, but after years of quietly liking someone unavailable, clarity was surprisingly attractive. We talked for almost 2 hours. Work complaints became favorite movies. Favorite movies became embarrassing childhood stories. Tyler told me he once ruined a middle school talent show by forgetting every word to a song he had practiced for weeks. I admitted I had once pretended to understand baseball for an entire date because I was too embarrassed to ask what an inning was. You know now, right? Tyler asked. Absolutely. How many innings? This conversation has become hostile. He laughed. I liked making him laugh. More importantly, I liked not wondering whether I was allowed to like it. When I got home shortly after 3, Cole was on the couch watching basketball. You are back early, he said. I closed the door behind me. Hello to you too. I thought you said before dinner. 3 is technically before dinner. How was it? I dropped into the armchair. Good. Cole nodded at the television. Just good. I stared at him. Would you like a written report? I am making conversation. It was fun. Tyler is funny. He seems like someone who knows he is funny. I blinked. You have never met him. I have seen him at your office holiday party. For approximately 8 seconds. Long 8 seconds. I laughed because surely he was joking. Over the next several days, Tyler and I started texting more, and Cole's supposedly casual curiosity became harder to ignore. He developed opinions about a man he barely knew, while quietly buying my favorite cereal and pretending it had been on sale. I checked the receipt the next morning. Full price. The contradiction stayed with me. Cole could act irritated by every mention of Tyler and, in the same breath, remember the smallest things that made my day easier. When Tyler asked me to dinner Friday, Cole saw his name on my phone. His expression shifted for only a second, something closer to disappointment than annoyance, before he turned toward the refrigerator. That was the second warning sign. This time, I noticed, Friday arrived with the kind of efficiency usually reserved for tax deadlines and bad decisions. At 6:45, I was standing in my bedroom trying to decide whether changing shirts for the third time officially counted as caring too much when someone knocked on our apartment door. I have it, Cole called from the living room. Wait. I grabbed my jacket and stepped into the hallway, but Cole was already opening the door. Tyler stood outside wearing a dark green jacket over a simple button-down shirt, looking annoyingly put together for someone who had apparently selected his clothes without experiencing a personal crisis. Hey, Tyler said. You must be Cole. Cole paused. And you are Tyler. Good start. Everybody knows everybody. I walked over before the conversation could somehow become a territorial dispute over our security deposit. Tyler, Cole. Cole, Tyler. Now you have officially met for longer than 8 seconds. Tyler smiled and offered his hand. Cole shook it. Mason told me you work at a sports clinic, Tyler said. Physical therapist, right? Yeah. My brother needed one after a running injury last year. You people have more patience than I do. Cole's expression softened despite himself. Depends on the patient. Great. Tyler was being friendly. Cole was being civil. There was absolutely nothing for anyone to complain about. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I noticed Cole studying Tyler like he was waiting for a hidden flaw to emerge from behind the green jacket. Ready? Tyler asked me. Almost. I reached for my keys on the entry table. Where are you guys going? Cole asked. I slowly turned around. Dinner. I know. Where? There is a place near Rittenhouse Square Tyler wants to try. Italian, Tyler added. Have you been? Cole shook his head. No, I will let you know if it is good. Tyler was so effortlessly pleasant that I almost felt sorry for Cole. There was nowhere for his mysterious disapproval to go. I slipped my keys into my pocket. Do not wait up, Dad. Cole rolled his eyes. I was not planning to. Tyler opened the door for me. I stepped into the hallway, and then Cole spoke again. You coming home tonight? Silence. I stopped. Tyler stopped. Even Cole seemed to stop internally. I turned back. Excuse me. Cole's face changed as he realized how the question sounded. I mean because of the door. The door. The lock. I stared at him. Our front door locks whether I am inside the apartment or not. I know that. Do you? Tyler looked down, clearly trying not to smile. Cole rubbed the back of his neck. I just meant whether I should expect you later. Why? Because you are my roommate. Compelling argument. Forget I asked. Already impossible. Tyler finally laughed, and I joined him. Cole did not. That stayed with me all through dinner. Tyler and I had a genuinely good time. The restaurant was warm and crowded, the pasta was excellent, and conversation moved without effort. Still, some inconvenient part of my brain kept replaying Cole's question. You coming home tonight? It should have meant nothing. Cole liked routines. Cole liked knowing plans. Cole once created a shared calendar because I forgot trash pickup twice. There were reasonable explanations. I had spent years becoming excellent at reasonable explanations. When Tyler dropped me off around 10:30, he smiled from the driver's seat. I had fun. Me too. Can I see you again? There it was. Clear. Simple. No translation required. Yes, I said. When I walked upstairs and opened our apartment door, the living room lamp was still on. Cole sat on the couch with the television muted and his phone in his hand. He looked up immediately. Hey. Hey. I hung my jacket by the door. You waited up? No. I was watching something. I glanced at the silent television. Must be a gripping show. Cole reached for the remote. How was dinner? Good. Just good. I smiled slowly. You asked me that. Last time. His eyes narrowed. And I am starting to think you care an awful lot about my dates. Cole looked away. I care about your life. It was a perfectly reasonable answer. Somehow, for the first time, I did not believe it was the whole one. Over the next 5 days, our apartment developed a strange new atmosphere, as if someone had moved all the furniture 2 inches to the left while I was asleep. Everything was technically where it belonged, but nothing felt quite right. Tyler and I had lunch on Monday. On Tuesday, we grabbed coffee after work. Wednesday evening, he called while I was making dinner, and I spent 20 minutes leaning against the kitchen counter laughing while Cole sat 10 feet away pretending to be deeply invested in a basketball game. When I ended the call, I found 2 plates on the counter. You made enough for me? I asked. Cole kept his eyes on the television. I always make enough for you. That was true. It was also exactly the problem. Thanks. I sat beside him with my plate. Usually, dinner on the couch meant arguments about what to watch, complaints about work, and Cole criticizing my inability to keep rice on a fork. That night, we barely spoke. The silence between us said more than either of us seemed willing to. Thursday, I came home late and found a takeout container in the refrigerator with my usual order from the Thai place downstairs. Cole was already in his room. I stood in the kitchen holding the container and felt something painfully familiar settle in my chest. For almost 2 years, these little gestures had been the architecture of our friendship. Coffee made before I woke up. Food saved when I worked late. A blanket tossed over the couch because I always complained the apartment was cold. None of it had ever been romantic. I knew that. I had repeated it until the words became furniture. But now Tyler was creating distance between us without even trying. And suddenly I could see how much of my daily life had Cole quietly built into it. Friday evening made things worse. I got home expecting to find him complaining about traffic or reorganizing something that did not need reorganizing. Instead, the apartment was empty. No music from the kitchen. No sneakers by the couch. No sarcastic greeting. I checked my phone before I could stop myself. Nothing. This is ridiculous, I told the refrigerator. The refrigerator offered no guidance. Cole had a life. I had a life. Roommates were allowed to exist independently without submitting hourly reports to each other. Apparently, someone should have explained that to my nervous system. He came home around 8:30 carrying a grocery bag. Hey, he said. Where were you? The question escaped before dignity could intervene. Cole stopped. Grocery store. I looked at the bag. For 2 hours? I went to the gym first. Oh. He raised an eyebrow. Why? No reason. A slow smile appeared. Were you wondering where I was? Do not make this weird. I asked one question. You are enjoying this too much. He started unloading groceries. Pasta. Coffee. Eggs. My cereal. Again. I leaned against the counter. You know I can buy my own cereal. You never do. Because apparently I have a cereal sponsor. Cole smiled, and for 30 seconds, everything felt normal again. That was when my phone lit up on the counter. Tyler. Cole saw the name. The smile disappeared. There it was. The shift I had started recognizing. You seeing him tonight? He asked. Tomorrow. Cole nodded and put the milk away. Right. What does that mean? Nothing. You have been saying nothing a lot lately. He closed the refrigerator. Maybe there is nothing to say. I should have let it go. Instead, I watched him walk toward his room and felt an uncomfortable truth finally catch up with me. Tyler was not the only reason our apartment felt different. I was waiting for Cole again. Watching him again. Reading meaning into pauses again. I had spent months convincing myself that my old feelings were gone, but apparently they had only learned how to stay quiet. And now, every time Cole looked jealous, they were getting louder. Saturday night arrived with rain tapping softly against the apartment windows and me pretending I had not changed shirts twice before meeting Tyler. Cole was in the kitchen when I walked out of my room, wearing his gray sweatshirt and staring into the refrigerator like it contained answers to questions he refused to ask. "I am heading out," I said. "Okay." One word. Very casual. Almost impressively casual. I grabbed my jacket. "Tyler is picking me up." Figured. His tone was casual. His expression was not. "Do not say anything," I said. "I did not. Your face did." Tyler and I spent the evening at a small restaurant near Center City, and for 2 hours I managed not to think about Cole more than approximately 17 times, which I considered significant personal growth. Tyler was easy to be around. He listened. He remembered things. He did not turn simple questions into emotional crossword puzzles. When he drove me home around 11, the rain had slowed to a mist. We stood beneath the awning outside my building for another few minutes, talking about a terrible movie we both wanted to see. Then Tyler smiled. "Can I ask you something?" "Depends. Is there math?" "Dinner next Saturday." "An actual date?" I laughed. "What have the other dinners been?" "Unofficial research." "And what did your research conclude?" "That I want another one." There was something comforting about hearing exactly what someone meant. "Then yes," I said. "Next Saturday." "Good." I opened the building door, then turned back. "Text me when you get home." "I will." Upstairs, I unlocked the apartment and immediately knew Cole was awake. The kitchen light was on, and he stood at the counter with a glass of water. "Hey," I said. "Hey." I hung up my jacket. "You are still awake." "So are you." "Excellent observation." Cole glanced toward the door. "Tyler bring you home?" "Yes." "He stayed outside for a while." I stopped. "Were you watching?" I walked past the window. "For several minutes?" I did not time it. "Cole." He looked down at his glass. I felt the frustration that had been building all week finally rise. "What is going on?" "Nothing." There is that word again. "Mason, I am tired." "So am I." "I am tired of you acting weird every time Tyler exists within a 5-mile radius." Cole exhaled. "I am not acting weird. You asked whether I was coming home after our first dinner. You interrogate me every time I mention him. You stare at my phone like it personally offended you." "I do not interrogate you. You asked what restaurant we went to tonight before I even left." "That was conversation." "No. Conversation is asking whether the pasta was good. You want a full itinerary." Cole set his glass on the counter. "Maybe I just do not trust him." "Why?" "I do not know." "Exactly." He turned away, but I was done letting him escape behind vague answers. "Tyler has been nothing but nice to me. He has been polite to you. He has given you absolutely no reason to dislike him." "I never said I disliked him." "Your face has submitted several formal complaints." Cole almost smiled. "Almost." Then I said, "He asked me on a real date next Saturday." The change was immediate. Cole went completely still. And I said yes. His jaw tightened. "That seems fast." I stared at him. "There. That. Why do you care? I am your roommate. That does not give you a vote." "I know." "Then stop acting like it does." Cole looked at me, frustration and something much less familiar crossing his face at the same time. "You do not understand." "Then explain it." Silence. Again. Always silence. I stepped closer, leaving plenty of space between us. "You do not get to act like my boyfriend whenever somebody else wants to date me." Cole's eyes locked on mine. "I am not acting like your boyfriend." My heartbeat suddenly felt much louder than the rain. "Then what are you acting like?" Cole had no answer. "Not yet." For a few seconds, neither of us moved. Rain whispered against the windows. The refrigerator hummed behind Cole. My keys were still in my hand, and I suddenly remembered the night from 12 days earlier, the moment this entire mess had started. Same living room. Same two idiots. Apparently, we had finally caught up to our own disaster. "Well?" I asked. Cole looked toward the kitchen as if the cabinets might volunteer an explanation. "I do not know." I laughed once, but there was no humor in it. "You have had almost 2 weeks to develop opinions about Tyler, but you do not know why." "It is not about Tyler." That stopped me. "Then what is it about?" Cole said nothing. "Because from where I am standing, you seem perfectly fine until I mention him. Then suddenly you care where I am going, when I am coming home, how long dinner lasts, whether he is funny, whether he works enough, probably whether he files his taxes correctly." "I never asked about his taxes." "Give it time." Cole rubbed the back of his neck. I know I have been weird. That is progress. Can you stop joking for 1 minute? His voice was not angry. It was strained, almost uncertain, and that frightened me more than anger would have. Humor was my emergency exit. Cole had just closed it. Fine, I said quietly. No jokes. Tell me what is happening. He looked at me. When you started seeing Tyler, everything changed. You mean I stopped being available every night? That is not what I mean. Then explain. You were never here. Cole, I live here. You know what I mean. I did. That was the dangerous part. I remembered the empty dinners, the silent television, the takeout waiting in the refrigerator. I remembered coming home to an empty apartment and immediately wondering where he was. Whatever distance had appeared between us, I had felt it too. People date, I said. Roommates date. Friends date. Their lives change. Cole looked down. I know. Then why are you acting like mine is not allowed to? I am not. You are. I am trying not to. The honesty of that answer knocked the next argument out of me. Trying not to what? Cole took a breath. Care this much. My heart stumbled. I hated that it still knew how to hope. Cole, I know how this sounds. I actually have no idea how this sounds because you keep stopping halfway through every sentence. He turned toward the window. I thought I was annoyed because our routine changed. Okay. Then I thought maybe I did not trust Tyler. Based on absolutely nothing. I know. He faced me again. Then tonight I heard you say yes to another date, and I realized I did not want you to go. Why? I do not know. That is not enough. I know. I spent months getting over feelings I was never supposed to have because you were straight. I did that because I respect you. So you cannot suddenly make me feel guilty for choosing someone who actually wants to date me. Cole stared at me. His expression changed completely. You had feelings for me? I closed my eyes for half a second. Wonderful. Apparently tonight was also my turn to accidentally confess things. That is not the point. Mason. No. You do not get to make this about my old crush so you can avoid whatever is happening with you. I am not avoiding it. Then tell me. Silence again. I stepped back, exhausted now more than angry. Either tell me what your problem is, or stop acting like you get a say in who I date. I am trying to tell you. Then why do you care who I date? Cole answered before either of us could prepare for it. Because I want you. The room went completely still. My hand tightened around my keys. Cole's eyes widened as if he had heard the words at the same moment I had. There it was. The sentence we had been moving toward all along. The sentence neither of us had been ready for. You what? I whispered. Cole swallowed, all the certainty draining from his face. I think, he said slowly, I finally understand why I have been so jealous. For once, I had no joke ready. The anger that had carried me through the argument disappeared so quickly it left me unsteady. This was the sentence I had once wanted from him more than anything, arriving after I had taught myself not to need it. Cole took half a step toward me, then stopped. Mason, I'm not asking you to fix this for me. I'm not asking you to forget Tyler or pretend I suddenly understand everything about myself. His voice dropped. I just couldn't keep watching you walk toward someone else while lying to both of us about why it hurt. My chest tightened. You hurt? I asked. He gave a small, helpless laugh. More than I knew how to admit. The space between us felt charged, but Cole did not cross it. That mattered. I could see how badly he wanted an answer, and I could also see him choosing not to demand one. I don't know what happens next, I said. Neither do I. But you meant it. His eyes stayed on mine. Yes. That single word frightened me more than the confession. Because I believed him. For the first time since I had known Cole, he looked like he wanted to take back his own words and hold on to them at exactly the same time. You think? I asked. Not my finest response, but my brain had apparently closed for the evening. Cole glanced toward the hallway. I need a minute. You just announced that you want me. I feel like I deserve at least several follow-up sentences. I know. Preferably sentences with verbs and useful information. He almost smiled. But neither of us had enough energy left to hide behind jokes. I do not know how to explain this tonight, he said. That answer should have frustrated me. Instead, something about his expression made me stop. Cole was not avoiding me anymore. He looked genuinely lost. Then do not explain it tonight, I said. But do not pretend tomorrow that none of this happened. His eyes met mine. I will not. We went to our separate rooms, although calling what happened afterward sleep would have been generous. I spent half the night staring at the ceiling while every ordinary moment from the past 2 years returned with new possibilities attached. Across the hall, I heard Cole moving around long after midnight. By 7:30 the next morning, I gave up and walked into the kitchen. Cole was already there. Of course he was. 2 mugs sat beside the coffee maker. Mine had oat milk and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Even during an identity crisis, apparently the man remained committed to beverage accuracy. "Morning," he said. "That feels ambitious." He handed me my mug. "Can we talk? I was hoping you might eventually explain the emotional grenade you left in the living room." Cole leaned against the counter. I kept thinking about when this started. I waited. I thought it was when Tyler showed up. And it was not. My heartbeat picked up. Cole stared into his coffee. "Tyler just made me notice it." "Notice what?" "How much space you take up in my life." I raised an eyebrow. "That sounds insulting." "You know what I mean. I actually need you to stop assuming that." He nodded. "Fair." He took a breath. "When you are not home, I notice. When something happens at work, you are the first person I want to tell. I know which cereal you like, what coffee you drink, what movie you put on when you have had a terrible day. I thought that was just what happens when you live with someone long enough. Sometimes it is. I know. That is why I never questioned it." He looked directly at me. "I dated women. I was attracted to women. I always assumed that men I understood myself. Then you started dating Tyler, and suddenly I was jealous in a way I could not explain." I held my mug tighter. "So what are you saying about yourself?" "I do not know yet." The answer came without shame, only uncertainty. "I do not know what label fits me. I do not know if I need one today. I just know that whatever I feel for you is not something Tyler created." He paused. He revealed it. That landed differently. Jealousy was not the feeling. Jealousy was evidence of something that had already been there. "Last night you said you wanted me." I said. "Do you still mean that this morning?" Cole did not hesitate. "Yes." My heart did something deeply inconvenient. Even without Tyler standing downstairs. "Yes." Even after sleeping on it. I did not sleep much, but yes. I looked away before my face could betray me completely. Cole stayed where he was. He did not move closer. He did not ask me for an answer. That mattered. "I am still confused," he said. "But I am not confused about you." I finally looked at him again. For years, I had imagined hearing something like that, and thought it would solve everything. Instead, it opened an entirely new question. Because wanting me was one thing. Choosing me after the jealousy disappeared would be something else. I should have felt victorious. The man I had once spent months trying not to fall for was standing 6 feet away telling me that his feelings were real, and somehow my first thought was that I needed more coffee. "There is something you should know," I said. Cole's expression tightened. "That sentence never leads anywhere relaxing." "I meant what I said last night. I used to have feelings for you." He nodded slowly. "Used to." Do not focus on the most emotionally inconvenient word. Hard not to. I looked down at my mug. "When we first moved in together, I liked you. A lot. Then I realized you were straight, and I made myself deal with it." Cole stayed quiet. I stopped looking for signs. I stopped wondering whether you remembering my coffee meant something. I stopped treating every nice thing you did like a clue. "Mason, I did not know." "I know. That is not an accusation." I finally met his eyes. "But getting over you took time. I cannot undo that because you got jealous of Tyler and suddenly discovered something about yourself." Cole nodded. "No argument. No defensive joke. That is fair. Also, I do not want to be an experiment." His face changed immediately. "You are not. You cannot know that yet." That hurt him. I could see it, but he did not look away. "You are still figuring yourself out," I continued. "That is okay. Really. But I need to protect myself too." "What do you need me to do?" It was such a Cole question. Practical. Direct. Like feelings came with assembly instructions, and he was ready to find the missing screws. I almost smiled. "Nothing dramatic." "That sounds suspiciously difficult." "I need you to mean this when Tyler is not around." Cole considered that. "So you want me to prove it?" "No grand gestures. No competing with him. No acting like you own my schedule." "I never thought I owned your schedule." I raised an eyebrow. "You once asked what time my coffee date would end." "That was logistical curiosity. That was nonsense wearing a wristwatch." He laughed, and some of the pressure in the kitchen finally eased. "Okay," he said. "No jealousy. You are allowed to feel jealous. Just do not make it my responsibility." His expression turned serious again. "I can do that." The next few days were strange in a completely different way. Cole stopped asking about Tyler. He did not watch my phone. He did not invent reasons to criticize anyone. Instead, life became almost normal again. Almost. Monday morning, my coffee was waiting beside the toaster. Thanks, I said. You are welcome. Neither of us mentioned what it might mean. Tuesday night, Cole bought my cereal. Sale? I asked. Full price. Personal growth. Wednesday, I worked late at the dining table while Cole read on the couch. Around 10, he quietly placed a mug of tea beside my laptop and returned to his book. No performance. No expectation. Just Cole. That was somehow more dangerous than jealousy. Thursday evening, Tyler called. I stepped into my room and told him the truth that I could manage without turning my private life into a presentation. I said things had become complicated and that accepting another date would not be fair to him. Tyler was quiet for a moment, then said he appreciated the honesty. No villain. No dramatic confrontation. Just a decent person who deserved clarity. When I returned to the living room, Cole did not ask what happened. He was sitting on the couch with 2 bowls of popcorn and the remote between them. Movie, he asked. What are we watching? Your choice. I stared at him. Are you feeling well? Do not ruin this. I sat at the opposite end of the couch and chose the worst comedy I could find. Halfway through, I realized something had changed. Cole was not trying to convince me anymore. He was simply there, the same person who had been there for almost 2 years, except now there was honesty where guessing used to be. When the movie ended, he looked at me. Mason? Yeah. He hesitated, then smiled. Nothing. Good night. I watched him disappear down the hallway and felt my own smile arrive before I could stop it. For the first time, Cole was giving me space instead of asking for an answer. And for the first time, I found myself wondering what my answer might be. By Friday, our apartment had become so normal that it was suspicious. Cole made coffee. I complained about his music. He complained about my habit of leaving cabinet doors open. We argued over whether the thermostat needed to move 2 degrees, which somehow became a 15-minute debate involving electricity costs and my alleged inability to understand sweaters. The jealousy was gone, or at least Cole was no longer making it my problem. More importantly, he had not mentioned Tyler once. That evening, I was sitting at the dining table finishing a design project when Cole walked out of his room wearing a dark blue button-down shirt instead of his usual sweatshirt. I looked up. Who are you, and what have you done with my roommate? Cole stopped. What? Buttons? On a Friday. Should I be concerned? I own shirts. Technically, yes. Historically, evidence is limited. He rolled his eyes, but I noticed the nervousness underneath it. That immediately made me nervous too. Wonderful. Anxiety was apparently contagious. Cole walked to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, closed it without taking anything, then turned toward me. Dinner Friday? I stared at him. It is Friday. I know. We also eat dinner together almost every Friday. I know that too. Then I am struggling to understand the revolutionary proposal. Cole took a breath. Not as roommates. There it was. No Tyler. No argument. No jealousy forcing the words out of him. Just Cole standing beneath our terrible kitchen light, asking because he wanted to. I saved my work and closed the laptop. Are you asking me on a date? I am trying to. You should know you are doing an extremely nervous job of it. Mason. Sorry. Continue. Would you have dinner with me tonight as a date? I considered making him wait. After everything, I felt I had earned at least 5 dramatic seconds. I managed 3. Yes. Cole blinked. Yes. Do not make me reconsider. His smile appeared slowly, and I realized I had never seen that exact version of it before. 7:30? He asked. Where? I made a reservation. Now I was genuinely shocked. You planned ahead? I am regretting this already. No, this is growth. I am proud of you. 2 hours later, we were sitting across from each other at a small Italian restaurant near Washington Square. We had eaten together hundreds of times, but everything felt slightly rearranged. Cole sat straighter. I noticed when he smiled. He noticed when I noticed. At one point, we both reached for the bread basket and immediately pulled our hands back like 2 people who had forgotten how ordinary human interaction worked. This is ridiculous, I said. We live together. That somehow makes this worse. You know, I have seen you eat cereal directly from the box. And I have seen you spend $40 on decorative pillows. Those pillows establish visual balance. They establish debt. I laughed, and suddenly the nervousness broke. There we were again. Mason and Cole. Same jokes. Same rhythm. Only now neither of us had to pretend the warmth underneath it meant nothing. After dinner, we walked the few blocks home beneath cool spring air and rows of glowing storefronts. At our building entrance, Cole stopped with his keys in hand. Was that okay? The pasta? The date? I looked at him. It was more than okay. Relief softened his face. Good. Although your bread-sharing technique needs work. There it is. We climbed upstairs together. At our apartment door, Cole unlocked it, then paused before opening it. This is weird, he said. What is? I have lived with you for almost 2 years. Somehow taking you to dinner was scarier than moving in with a stranger. I smiled. Maybe because I am not a stranger anymore. Cole looked at me for a quiet second. No, you definitely are not. He opened the door, and we stepped into the familiar living room. Same couch. Same terrible kitchen light. Same apartment where, not long ago, he had blurted out 4 words that changed everything. Neither of us moved toward our rooms. Cole's hand rested beside mine on the back of the couch. His fingers brushed mine once, tentative enough that I could have moved away. I didn't. Instead, I turned my hand over and let our fingers settle together. Cole looked down at them, then at me. Mason? Yeah. He hesitated. The nervousness in his face made something inside me soften. Can I kiss you? There was no jealousy in the question. No Tyler. No argument forcing either of us toward an answer. Just Cole asking, and me finally getting to choose. Yes. He leaned in slowly enough to give me every chance to change my mind. I didn't. Our first kiss was brief and gentle, more relief than urgency, and when we pulled apart we stayed close for a moment, both of us smiling like we had discovered something obvious years too late. Well, I whispered, because apparently humor had returned from vacation. Cole laughed softly. Do not ruin this. I was going to say your first date technique improved dramatically at the end. There it is. I squeezed his hand before letting go. Next Friday too? His smile returned immediately. Yeah. The next morning, I woke to the smell of coffee. Cole was already in the kitchen, standing beside 2 mugs as sunlight stretched across the counter. He slid the blue one toward me. Oat milk. 1 teaspoon of sugar. Exactly right. I looked at the mug, then at him. What? He asked. Nothing. That is suspicious. I took a sip and smiled. For almost 2 years, Cole had been learning the small details of my life without either of us understanding why they mattered so much. The coffee had not changed. The cereal in the cabinet had not changed. The apartment had not changed. Only the truth between us had. Cole lifted his own mug. You are staring. I am thinking. Dangerous. I laughed and bumped my shoulder lightly against his. For the first time, roommate was no longer the ending of our story. It was simply where we had started.